What to do about wrinkles? When you're an old lady and you look in the mirror, you feel young on the inside, well I do, but then you look in the mirror and you go, yeah, I'm an old lady, I've got wrinkles. But here's a really cool thing to consider, regardless of how old you are, because we now live in a world where girls are getting Botox and fillers at 25 and 30, some even younger. So they're obviously concerned about looking old. But is there something really special about looking old? Because if you're old, it means that you've lived. And here's a really great question. How have you lived? If you've had a great life, you've experienced lots of stuff, you've overcome a lot of challenges, you've had an experience of people and places and career paths and ups and downs in life, is it possible that then that will show on your face? But the beautiful thing about showing on your face, what's on the inside usually shines on the outside. There's a lot of beautiful people with no wrinkles, completely line-free faces, but they don't seem to have lived very much, or they seem very unhappy or even ugly. And I don't say that with disrespect. If you've had a great life, regardless of what your face looks like, is it possible that you'll have a happy, positive outlook on life and that will shine through your face? Have you seen people that have got a face full of wrinkles? And that's a really cool thing about men. They seem to love to age. They love getting wrinkles on their face because it makes them look like they are experienced. Why as women do we want to have a line-free face? And I have lots of plastic surgeons in my life. One's a really good friend of ours, and he said it beautifully. Even if you get plastic surgery, it's not about looking young. It's just about looking a little bit younger or fresher. I love that word. I like to look fresh rather than young. I'm an old lady. I don't want to look young. I would look ridiculous. I love being old. I say that every day. People say to me, Roby, but you're not old. Yes, I am. For a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, I'm a very old lady. And for tiny children, I'm an extremely old lady. But I love being old because it means that I've lived. So I'm out in the sun, and a lot of people say, you shouldn't get out in the sun because it's bad, you'll get more wrinkles. Well, I've been in the sun all of my life because I understand that energy comes from the sun. Fresh air and sunshine gives me the power and the energy to get through my day. People that stay inside with artificial light and artificial air, sitting on their backside, eating crappy food and being dehydrated, I think look very much older. The other thing that makes us look very old, of course, is when we get too thin. And there's a lot of people now in the world that are taking weight loss drugs and they look very, very old, even though they're very, very thin. And I don't understand that. I always say, we have a bit of a joke at our house. Sometimes you've got to sacrifice your ass for your face. Sometimes you've got to keep a bit of fat on your backside so that you don't get too skinny in your face, because if you get really skinny in your face, you look really old. And wrinkles, if you've got a plumped up face, if you've got a bit of fat in your face, you seem to have less wrinkles. If you have a really skinny face and you lose all the definition in your face, obviously your skin gets saggy and baggy. So why am I sharing all of that? Because I think it's really sad that so many people spend so much time and so much money on aiming to look young. But if you're not young, why do you want to look young? If you're old, like I am, and we're all getting older by the minute, so it doesn't matter how old you are, we're all literally getting older by the second, by the minute, by the hour. Why not appreciate what happens to the human body? Because I'm fitter and stronger and healthier, wiser, with more life experience than when I was 20. So I don't want to look 20 because that would mean I haven't had all that life experience. So I'm out in the sun because the sun makes me feel good. It obviously gives me vitamin D, which is also very good for your skin. But it's this thing about moderation. If you get sunburned, obviously that's very bad. If you drink one glass of alcohol, it's probably going to make you feel great if you like to drink alcohol. But if you get drunk, that's bad. If you're alcoholic, that's not going to be good for your life. If you eat too much food, you get fat. If you drink too much, you can actually die. But you've got to be hydrated. You've got to get fresh air. You've got to get sunshine. If you don't get sunshine, your whole immune system doesn't work effectively. Nitric oxide doesn't work effectively in your body, which is the power for the cells, every cell in your body. So I'm really committed to fresh air and sunshine every single day. I hate being inside. I hate sitting down, and I sit down very rarely. My day starts where I get up, and the next time that I'm on my ass is when I lie down, which is that position, not sitting position, because obviously when you sit down, you take out the biggest muscles in your body. Your body doesn't function effectively when you're sitting down. I don't ever want to sit down. I only sit down if I have to, and that's just in the car. And even if I go for a drive, I aim to stop every 20, 30 minutes and I sprint on the spot, do some jump squats, get off my ass, because I hate sitting on my ass. So I'm just sharing that with you, because if you are fit and strong, if you get fresh air and sunshine, if you sleep deeply, sleep's got a lot to do with the way you look, of course, because if you're really tired, if you have a stressful sleep, if you don't get peaceful regeneration when you're sleeping, obviously that's going to show in your face as well. You've often heard someone say that, oh, you look really tired. That's not a compliment, obviously. It means that you don't look good because you haven't slept well. So I'll go through the process, and this is for everything. People go to the doctor for every single sickness under the sun. Everything that's wrong with us, we go to the doctor and say, please, can you help me? Well, here's what I'd love doctors to say. And just yesterday, I heard a neuroscientist or neurosurgeon say this, and it just blew my mind. He's been a neurosurgeon. He does brain surgery 3 days a week, and he's been doing that all of his life, and he's over 70 now. And he said, I'm an elite athlete because I have to stand up for 16 hours at a time. Literally, it's life and death. I'm operating on somebody's brain. He said, but I never, ever take supplements for my brain because I know what goes on in the brain. He said, here's what the human body needs. This is not Rowie banging on, as I always do. This is a neurosurgeon. He said, we need fresh air and sunshine every day. You need to sleep deep. You need to get exercise at high intensity, which sends neurochemicals into your brain to keep it young and strong. You need to make sure that you eat healthy food, and you need to have a positive attitude. Surely, before we do anything else, before we go to the doctor, before we take medication, before we go on some kind of nutraceutical, as they call it, which is some kind of supplementation product, and it's $1 trillion business now. But before you do any of that stuff, how about fresh air, sunshine, deep sleep, be hydrated, eat food that's real, stuff that grows in the ground, on the ground, or runs on the ground, or a combination of all of those, and be as fit and strong as you can possibly be. And if you put all of those things together, is it possible that even if you have wrinkles on your face, you'll still look and feel fantastic? You'll feel fantastic, and that shines on the outside. Now, the next part of that, of course, is posture, and you've got to get sun for vitamin D to look after your bones, and posture just shows everything. If you've got good, strong posture, good, strong bones, your immune system's built inside your bones, so that's obviously very important. But if you've got poor posture, it makes you look old. If you've got poor posture, it makes your chest look ugly. If you've got poor posture, it looks like you haven't got self-confidence and self-esteem. So here's a great thing. Get fit, get strong, and as I say every single day, do it safely so you don't get injured, do it fast so you don't get bored, make sure you're getting results so you stay motivated. And the food that you eat what you love, don't eat what you don't like, eat real food that humans haven't screwed with, and then have a really positive attitude. If you've got a negative attitude, surely that shows ugly on your face. You can be 15 years of age and look really old and ugly if you've got a negative look on your face. Happy smiley face is one of the best fashion accessories you can have, whether you've got wrinkles or not. So if you're worried about your wrinkles, how about start with the fundamentals? Fresh air, sunshine, deep sleep, be hydrated, eat healthy food, healthy because it's not been screwed with, and get your body as fit and strong as it can possibly be. And then you'll have blood flow, you'll have circulation, you'll have energy, you'll look and feel fantastic, and you can live your life to the max. The sun is shining, woo!